It gets to the point where it's predictable and it's not sexy anymore. You kind of end up looking flat. Does that make sense? There's no variance. What is up, you guys? It's me, Gaylyn Lareese, and welcome back to another dance tip video here on my channel. Today, we are going to talk about something that I know my girls want to talk about, okay? And it is how to look sexy and, more importantly, how to truly radiate feminine energy when you're dancing. It's pretty obvious that in entertainment, sex sells, so being able to channel your sexy self, your sexy character, will only take you even further in your career. However, knowing how to channel it, knowing how to turn it up and when to turn it down is also super important. I'm going to share with you guys some tips for how I personally found my sexy as I was growing as a dancer. And these are some things that I made sure I implemented that I truly saw a change from. If you want to be a part of my internet fam, go ahead and subscribe and let's jump in. My first tip for radiating feminine energy and truly looking sexy when you dance is to learn your angles and practice your shapes. Now, a big part of looking sexy and appealing from the viewer's perspective is literally how your body looks and what shapes your body is making when you're dancing. And you want that kind of stuff to really come naturally to you versus you constantly having to think about it, which means that you have to practice it and you have to learn it. So there's 3 different things that I want you to keep in mind when you are thinking about what angles look best on you and also what shapes look best on your body. Most people's face, believe it or not, is not symmetrical. It's not even. So both sides of our face are a little bit different, which is why some people have a good side and a bad side. Most people do, actually. And so because of this, the different ways that you tip your chin are going to give off different angles as you are dancing. And this is something that you want to practice. Now, in ballet, which is what my foundation of dance is from, we call this your épaulement, which is why if you watch a ballet dancer, there are moments where their chin is going to be up versus down. And this is all a part of the dance as well. But the thing is, this doesn't just apply to ballet. So actually go in the mirror, or sometimes I even do this while I am taking selfies just to practice my facials. Go in the mirror and practice tipping your chin down versus up. Both can look sexy, but it just depends on the shape of your face and what shape your face is making as you're doing them. Practice different facial expressions. This will also, again, show off the different parts of your face. Some people have more angular eyebrows like I do. Some people have more straight eyebrows. All of those things are going to show you the different angles of your face that look good. And if you're taking photos of those, if you're really practicing this, you're going to have a good understanding of how your face is looking, even though you won't be able to see it when you dance. The second thing to think about are your hips. Now, I've talked about this in my previous video on improving your balance in a heel, I think. So if you have not checked out that video, I'll have it linked for you guys. But in that video, I really talk about the importance of sitting in your hip. So the first reason is because it actually shows off the curve of your body. I'm not a very curvy person, but I can kind of look a little bit more curvy if I'm sitting in my hip a little bit more. And so when you're doing that, you're accentuating that side of your hip that feminine quality is often connected to. Also, what this does is it helps you really slow down as you're moving through those positions. It gives you more control because you're using your glutes and your hamstrings more as you're sitting all the way over in that hip. A woman never rushes, okay? So we want to take things slow. This will also make your transitions look more slow and controlled, which will ultimately make you look more sexy. My personal style of dance doesn't involve wearing a heel. I like to dance barefoot, but I would like to think that my style is pretty sexy, and that's because I really keep in mind where my hips are when I'm dancing, and that shows off to the audience also as well. The third thing to think about when you are practicing these shapes are your shoulders and, more importantly, your overall posture. Again, this is something that I really took from my ballet training, and people can get it from other places as well, but what I really want to focus on is the importance of your shoulders being back down, and together, so that you're actually cinching your shoulder blades in the middle part of your back. I've talked about this a lot in my dancer arm toning video, but really your arm should be an accentuation of your back, and you should really be using your back first to create different arms that you're making as you're dancing. And what this is going to do is it's going to open up your chest, and it's going to really show off that feminine part of you, which is all up in here. It'll also show off the girls, you know, but it makes you really look more like you're someone who is embodying this character versus someone who is just doing steps that are sexy. My second tip for helping you truly radiate feminine energy and really look sexy when you dance, whether if you're in a heel or not, is to try different outfits and necklines to see which silhouettes fit you best. Something that I've realized, for me at least, is that I have really broad shoulders. I've just been born that way. And so for me to look my most sexy, I like tops that have more of a straight across neckline, kind of like this one, or things that allow me to show a little bit of cleavage. This attracts more attention to the center of my body, the center of my chest, again, where that feminine energy is radiating from, and it puts less focus on my shoulders. So when I'm trying to dress for different dance classes or really dress for an audition, also, I keep these things in mind when I'm picking those outfits. A lot of times we can get into the habit of just wearing what we always wear to class or wearing what we see someone else wear, but you don't have the same body that someone else has. And all of us have beautiful bodies. It's just a matter of really showing off those things that make us stand out and make us us. On your bottom half, are you wearing leggings like everyone else does? Are those the things that look best on you? Or would you look better in a cute little mini skirt? Or maybe a longer skirt with slits on the sides so you can still dance and move your legs, but you're also showing that nice little curve that you have down below. Don't ever wear something that feels like it's swallowing you or makes you feel self-conscious, because that's just gonna come across to the people who watch you, and that's honestly the complete opposite of sexy. I've done a video in the past on different outfits to wear to a dance class, so I'll link that in this video too, but find what works for you. That's what's gonna make you look the most sexy. My third tip for helping you truly radiate feminine energy and really look your sexiest when you're dancing in a heel or when you're not is to hone your masculine energy. I understand we all love to dance sexy, we all love looking sexy, but the problem is that if you're only taking one style of dance, you kind of end up looking flat. Does that make sense? There's no variance. And so for you to really look your sexiest, you also have to understand what your masculine energy is and what that looks like on your body. So take classes that actually make you channel that side of you that's more grounded and, get a little stank with it. Stop being so pretty. One of the people who I feel really embodies this really well is Periscopal. And I feel like this is why she is so magnetizing when she dances, is because she knows how to be super grounded and grungy and masculine, but also knows how to be super ultra sexy. And because she can do both, you can really see the difference in both of them. And she doesn't look like such a flat dancer. And I think that's why people see her as so sexy, because they see what the opposite side of her looks like. The opposite of feminine energy is masculine energy, but that is within all of us, no matter how you identify. And so if you want to be the best dancer you possibly can, you got to know how to pull on each of those. If you don't truly look like one or the other in these different moments, what you're gonna end up looking is childish, and that's really the complete opposite of what you're trying to go for. My fourth tip for helping you radiate feminine energy and truly look sexy when you dance, whether if you're in a heel or not, is to, you guys guessed it, because I'm gonna say it, freestyle. You guys, if you are feeling uncomfortable in your body when you're trying to exude sexiness, then chances are it's probably because you don't trust yourself. And you want to know the easiest way to gain more trust in your body? Freestyle. Practice freestyling at home. Really think about finding the things that really show off how great of a dancer you are. And also practice having some variance when you dance. Something that, although it can feel like it's sexy, can actually come off kind of childish is when Aisha Francis would say, throwing the cat everywhere. Everything is a split and a swipe and a booty and it's back to back to back to back. And what you're essentially doing is you're just thrusting the cat in people's face all the time. And it gets to the point where it's predictable and it's not sexy anymore. Part of what makes someone look attractive is that sexual tension that's created when they're dancing. So they're giving a little bit and then they're taking it away. They're giving it a little bit and they're taking it away. And when you're dancing, you want to do the same thing. This keeps people enticed and wanting more of you. You don't want to be predictable, and that's one of the easiest ways to become predictable as a dancer. So really freestyle, play with that masculine and feminine energy as well. That'll give you that push-pull kind of energy that'll make people more drawn into you and also make you stand out more. My fifth tip for really radiating feminine energy when you dance and truly looking sexy, whether if you're in a heel or not, is to dance with your hair down. Now, as someone who kind of always grew up dancing in ponytails and buns, that was just automatically my go-to, and I didn't really think about what I was doing with my hair when I was dancing. I feel like a couple years ago, or at least when I was growing up, having our natural textured hair out was not as encouraged as it is now. But today we're seeing so many dancers wear their hair out, wearing wigs, wearing wash and goes, doing things that actually show that your hair is a part of you. And it's gonna be something that you can use to accentuate yourself. So you gotta show it off. Try dancing with your hair down, and I promise you it's going to completely change how you dance and help you look more sexy. I have had short hair, I've had a bowl cut, I've had my natural hair short cut, I've gone through a lot of different styles. Play around with different hairstyles as well. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I think, you know, when I first moved to LA, I heard that like age-old,
keep the same hairstyle because when you have a headshot, if you go for an audition, you want to look the same way as your headshot.
but honestly, I feel like that stuff doesn't matter as much anymore. It does matter to some people, but I think what matters most is how you're truly embodying yourself, and using your hair can be a good tool for doing that. I'm loving this shortcut that I have, but at some point I'm gonna change it and do something else. And I think that's what also just keeps dancing fun, because as you change your hairstyles, it also slightly changes how you dance. So try dancing with your hair down. My sixth tip for really radiating feminine energy and truly looking sexy when you dance, this one's strictly for people dancing in a heel, and that is to dance in a stiletto heel. Now, I've talked about this before in my video where I talked about picking heels for a dance class, and I am pro stiletto heel till I die. The thing about stiletto heels is that it really can give you that elevated look that I feel you don't really get when you're wearing a chunky heel. Having something that's high and more thin and lean, it changes the shapes that your foot makes from your hip down to your foot. So I think if you're dancing in a heel that is not a stiletto, give it a try. And if you do dance in stilettos, try dancing one that's a little bit higher. It's gonna change the elevation of your heels and bring your body upward. It's gonna change the look of your calves, which is just giving you more curves all the way down, you know what I'm saying? So try a higher heel, try a stiletto heel, and see if that makes you look a little bit sexier. My last tip for radiating feminine energy and truly looking sexy when you dance is to give yourself time. I remember going to an intensive when I was about 22 years old, and it was for heels, and everyone in the room was saying how they wanted to look like a grown woman, and they wanted to look feminine, and they wanted to look sexy. But the thing is that it comes with time, especially if you're like me and you grew up in a place where that side of you wasn't really encouraged. It kind of takes some time to find that character within you, and that's okay. Not everyone just has this natural, sexy quality performance within them, and that's okay. Sometimes it takes some time. Sometimes it takes some life experience. Sometimes it takes seeing other versions of sexy other than the ones that you've either grown up with or the ones that are constantly around you to help you understand what yours is. And I think that's something that helped me a lot. Don't be super hard on yourself. It's gonna come. It's gonna come when you are trying different styles, wearing different outfits, and ultimately learning who you are as a dancer. And that is it, you guys. Those are my tips for helping you radiate feminine energy and truly look sexy when you dance, whether you're in a heel or not. being sexy, being able to show off your version of sexy is something that can be super empowering and really heighten your confidence, but it also comes from time, it comes from trying different things and finding out who you are as a dancer. And I think that ultimately these are all the things that I was talking about. If you guys found this video helpful, please give it a like, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love to know in the comments down below who you saw as sexy when you were younger and who you now see as sexy when you're older. Our image in our head of sexy changes as we have more experiences and just as we live more life. I think for me, when I was younger, sexy was like Britney Spears and who else? Maybe like Jessica Simpson or something like that. And today my versions of sexy are Kirby. If you know Kirby, she does music. I love her. I love Doja Cat. I love like a Nicki Minaj, like more of a stank sexy, you know what I mean? I love a city girls, I love a hood sexy, I love a ratchet like I love so many different versions of sexy now. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Of course, if you want to, you should come and join my internet fam. Come subscribe, girl. Be a part of my internet fam, and you can kind of see my journey as I am creating choreography and making more videos, and I'll show some vlogs, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I'll see you guys in my next video next weekend. Later.
Give me something to do when I get lonely. I got something for you when we get home. If you let me put it down, when I come in town, you should slide on me. Keep your minds on me. On try, baby, I think you should side with me. Stay solid one time if you lie with me. Just promise you never lie to me. Keep the moves on tuck. I know it's all up. Everything good. Keep the vibes on crush. I know it's all good.